Pardon me. Now, the investors are exploring a large-scale milk processing facility with capacity to handle up to 1 million liters of milk per day. President Museveni said the project fits into Uganda's push for value addition and commercial agriculture. He said Uganda is now producing about 5.4 billion liters of milk annually, while local consumption stands at about 800 million liters, leaving a large surplus for processing and export. Museveni said the next step is to improve productivity through better feeding, improved dairy breeds, mechanized milking and proper milk collection systems. The president also welcomed the proposed use of modern milking and milk handling equipment, saying it would improve efficiency and hygiene. He directed that a proposal to be prepared on how milk can move from farms to cooling centers and then the processing plant. The Egyptian delegation said it is ready to work with Uganda on the project. Egypt's ambassador to Uganda, His Excellency Monza Selim, said the project follows recent discussions between President Museveni and President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi on stronger cooperation between the two countries. Farmers from Ngoma said they have been struggling with limited transport and processing capacity and welcomed the planned investment. Now, moving on, as concerns grow over increasing suicide cases across Africa, mental health advocates and policy makers are calling for stronger interventions to address what experts describe as a silent public health crisis. The Uganda Parliamentary Forum on Mental Health, in partnership with the African Suicide Prevention Association, held a stakeholder engagement meeting aimed at strengthening preparations for the African Regional Summit on Suicide Prevention, scheduled for 23rd to 25th October 2026. According to health experts, suicide remains one of the leading cases of preventable deaths globally, with low and middle-income countries carrying the largest burden. Stakeholders say stigma, limited access to mental health services, substance abuse, unemployment, and social pressures continue to drive many people into depression and suicidal behavior. The meeting heard that mental health challenges have become increasingly common among young people, women, and vulnerable communities, underscoring the need for increased investment in mental health care and community support systems. Chairperson of the Uganda Parliamentary Forum on Mental Health, Rose Obiga, emphasized the importance of collective action in addressing the growing crisis. Participants noted that despite growing awareness, mental health services remain underfunded, with many health facilities lacking specialized personnel, counseling services, and essential treatment options. The upcoming 2026 African Regional Summit on Suicide Prevention is expected to bring together governments, researchers, health professionals, and civil society organizations from across the continent to share experiences, strengthen partnerships, and develop practical strategies for reducing suicide rates. The summit will be held under the theme Transforming Lives Through Mental Health Promotion, Suicide Prevention, and Community Resilience. Now, government, through the then Minister of State for Youth and Children, Balam Bargahara, initiated efforts to solve the long-lasting paternity dispute within the family of the late Paul Job Kafero, calling for a conclusive DNA test. On Thursday afternoon, the results were released by both the Government Analytical Laboratory and the Police Forensic Department. 4 out of 25 children who claimed to be of the late musician Paul Kafero tested positive. The voices dropped low for a while as losers were seen reflecting on the next move. The DNA test process was after the exhumation of the late Paul Kafero's body earlier this month, which was deemed as the only solution to acquire credible samples from the deceased's remains. The confirmed children include Kafero Ben, Kafero Simon Peter, Kafero Thomas, and Nagawa Elizabeth. It was a moment. Minister Balam expressed trust in the scientific process, which he termed confirmatory, and that it will create relief in the paternity row among the alleged children of Kafero. Both the confirmed and dropped children have been advised to reconcile to end any existing disputes in the family. Minister Balam promised support to them from government through poverty alleviation programs. The children were further asked to turn up at Mengo Court, where results shall be presented and distributed among family members. This is the second time such tests are made after the family members disagreed with the first attempt by MBN Laboratory. Now, records from the Office of the Prime Minister show that Uganda hosts 2,024,000 refugees from 24 countries around the world. The refugees, distributed in 13 different settlements across the country, are now being affected in terms of service delivery due to the declining funding, according to the Office of the Prime Minister. This was highlighted by the Office of the Prime Minister during an engagement with the media as part of the events of the Africa Public Service Day. The Office of the Prime Minister also pointed out key areas of focus in the 2025-2030 strategic plan. In the area of affirmative action, 6 sub-regions will benefit from strategic interventions. As the leader of government business with the slogan "Moving from Strategy to Service," the Office of the Prime Minister plans to have a strong coordination system to ensure better accountability and service delivery to the citizens. The Office of the Prime Minister is striving to ensure that citizens get better services because it improves the quality of life, but also creates trust in its institutions. Right, that brings us to the end of what we have on the local scene. Getting straight into what we have on the global scene this morning, we're starting off with Venezuela and the earthquake that happened. Rescuers are searching through rubble in a rush to save lives after 2 powerful earthquakes struck Venezuela near the capital, killing at least 235 people and injuring more than 1,500. In Caracas, the nearby coastal city of La Guaira, people could be heard calling for help from under the debris of collapsed buildings. The first 7.2 magnitude quake was followed seconds later by an even stronger 7.5 magnitude one, according to the U.S. Geological Survey, USGS, with both occurring close to surface, making destruction more severe. Many more people are feared dead, with others left homeless or too afraid to stay in damaged, unsafe buildings, sleeping in the streets after the disaster. The earthquakes struck at 18:04 local time on Wednesday, a national holiday in Venezuela, meaning more people would have been at home than on a normal weekday. Both quakes were shallow, the first centered 20.3 kilometers below the surface and the second at a depth of 10 kilometers, according to USGS. Jorge Rodriguez, the president of Venezuela's National Assembly, reported on Thursday that the death toll had risen after the country's interim president Delcy Rodriguez declared a state of emergency. Now moving on, French authorities have announced public alcohol consumption and sales bans in Paris in a bid to ease pressure on the capital's hospitals during the heat wave. Parisians will be restricted from drinking alcohol in public from noon to Friday until 7 on Saturday. The measures will be in place during the same hours from Saturday to Sunday. Heatwave conditions that have left Spain, the UK and France sweltering for days are set to shift to the east, with forecasters in Germany and the Czech Republic warning of extreme conditions. Temperatures in Germany could hit 40 degrees Celsius across the country on Friday. An extreme weather warning is now in place in much of the Czech Republic. French Prime Minister Sébastien Lecornu said the health alert level was being raised to its highest to boost hospital staffing and protect the vulnerable. Bans on takeaway alcohol sales will be in effect from 18:00 on Friday until 7:00 on Saturday in the capital, and again during the same hours from Saturday to Sunday. Licensed bars and restaurants are exempt from the restrictions. Now on to the continent. Finally, Kenyan police have dispersed protesters in the capital and detained others who took to the streets in memory of the demonstrators who were killed in anti-government rallies against tax rises 2 years ago. Interior Minister Kipchumba Murkomen said on Thursday that a total of 355 people were arrested in various parts of the country. He called those detained criminals and apologized for the use of barricades and other security measures aimed at containing the protests. Quote unquote, "We regret the inconveniences occasioned by these measures and at the same time appreciate their effectiveness in securing the city and other parts of the country," Murkomen told reporters. A correspondent from the Reuters news agency also saw police fire tear gas to disperse people who were gathering peacefully outside of Nairobi's police station after forces detained 6 people outside Parliament where they had laid flowers. Now, according to Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, organizers had planned to mark the 2nd anniversary of the demonstrations that had left at least 60 people dead after protesters had breached Parliament grounds in 2024. And that brings us to the end of what we have on the global scene this morning. My standout story is that of the heat waves happening in Europe. I think this should stand as a reminder to us who are here. Uganda is a beautiful country with beautiful weather, although lately also damaged by climate change. But there's a lot we could do to protect the environment, all right? And to save ourselves from what could happen as the worst case possible, like it is in Europe. So before it gets worse, let's at least prevent the worst from happening. Now, on that note, let's take a look at what we have in the dailies this morning. And we're starting off with the New Vision, districts to recruit online. That's the headline in the New Vision. This is indeed quite an interesting move by the government, but move aims to reduce human contact and paperwork. But also there in Kafero DNA, what's next for 21 rejected children? Indeed, I can only imagine finding out as an adult that whom you thought to be your father is actually not your father. I honestly continue to pray for the 21 because there is a battle of identity as an individual. To each one of them, it's going to be tough. They need counseling, they need mental health support, they need all manner of support economically, just so they can go through this and heal from it eventually. But anyway, still in the New Vision, police to deploy 10,000 in sub-counties, and school loses pay case to staff. But also 100 billion shillings more set for cattle compensation. Compensations never cease to end. Anyways, Museveni appoints Muyingo acting education minister, and why NRM regained Kalangala woman MP seat. Interesting stories there from the New Vision. I think they are quite the stories to push you to get a copy for yourself. But let's also look at the Daily Monitor. Chambogo graduates clash over fake course. That's the headline in the Daily Monitor. Disgruntled, the section of Chambogo University graduates has locked horns with the institution, accusing it of teaching an obsolete 6 years course 6 years ago that has since left them stranded in the job market. But the university insists the group was aware of the status of the program. Quite a conflict in there. Anyways, SMEs tasked on ethics as top 100 survey is launched, and DNA test results delink 21 children from the late music star Kafero. Opportunities for jobs in there on the Daily Monitor. Looking at what the Lizard has to say, usually savage, but let's see what today has. Where are the real fathers? Question indeed. DNA test results delink 21 children from the late music star Kafero. And to worsen matters, for some, the mothers have passed away. So the best way to know who their fathers are is really slim. The chances are really, really slim. Anyways, looking at the Citizen representing Tanzania, government urged to reduce spending on state vehicles. Good one. This is in Tanzania, and according to the speaker, efforts to contain expenditure on vehicles should not be treated as a temporary cost-cutting exercise, but as part of the broader commitment to improving efficiency across government operations. Now, Tanzania monitors gold price decline amid concerns over export earnings, and Tanzania secures 56.6 billion shillings for Gongo La Mboto BRT depot expansion. Also, Stone Town hosts ZIFF 2026 as festival probes AI's role in storytelling. And matters education, why are fresh university students opting to live on their own? Some independence, you're already above 18, you know. Anyways, looking at the Daily Nation, lockdown, that's what the Daily Nation has. Second anniversary, families of 2024 Gen Z protest victims lay wreaths outside Parliament. And looking at total blockades, court order, scores arrested, justice call, uneasy calm. Want to know the detail of it? Get yourself a copy of the Daily Nation and dig deep into those stories and all the dailies that we do carry for you this morning. But on that note, that also leads us into the Gazette as of today, the 27th, is it? The 26th rather, of June 2026. Table of contents there displayed. But looking at a bit of the details that we could look at, there is a corrigendum here. Correction is hereby made to the Uganda Gazette Extraordinary Volume CXIV number 50, that is 11450, number 50 of 2021, wherein the running header erroneously stated the publication date as 16th June 2020. The correct date is 16th June 2021, and the Gazette shall be read and construed accordingly. Also in their notice of grant of an exploration license, it is hereby notified that exploration license number EL00428, registered as number 003432, has been granted in accordance with the provisions of sections 43 and section 47 to Native Mining Company Limited of PO Box 11055 Kampala for a period of 3 years effective 22nd August 2024. The exploration area subject to the exploration license is 7.43 kilometers squared and is on topography map sheet number 76/4 situated in Buweju district. This is dated the 28th day of August 2024 and signed by the Honorable Minister, then Dr. Ruth Nankabirwa Sentamo, Minister of Energy and Mineral Development. The other notice to pay heed to is that there are new appointments or replacements to Board of Governors. This is from the Ministry of Education and Sports in exercise of the powers conferred by Section 29 of the Education, Pre-Primary, Primary and Post-Primary Act Cap 247, I hereby appoint the following persons to the board to be the Board of Governors of Namboko Seed Secondary School with effect from 2nd April 2026. Foundation body representatives are Masinde Frederick, Kimono Betty, Wafula Moses, Kabei Manana Peter, Wakuma Difasi, and local government, that is LC5 representatives, Lutomia Mary, and teacher representatives, Wabomba Isa and Nandutu Beatrice. Looking at the parents' representatives, Masai Emmanuel Peter, Kitui John Wandulu, LC3 representative Chitono Nicholas, and old students representatives none. This Board of Governors will serve for a period of 3 years up to 2nd April 2029, and this has been dated on the 2nd day of April 2026 under the signature of Dr. J.C. Muyingo, Minister of State for Higher Education, and in copy therein the Director, Directorate of Education Standards, the Director, Basic and Secondary Education, the Chief Administrative Officer, Namisindwa District, the District Education Officer, Namisindwa District. And with that, we come to the end of what we have in the dailies and all updates we have for you this morning. It is Good Morning Uganda, the Friday edition, and we have quite interesting conversations and of course artists as always to bless your Friday and usher you into the weekend. We are looking at how UNMF is transforming Uganda's music industry. And our guest this morning is Muhumuza Martin Beta, who is the Director of Research and Development at the UNMF. We'll be getting into the detail of that in just a bit right after this break. So save the number 0709 602592 so that you are able to